Well, thank you so much for being here. This is the first night of this sort of retrospective that we're doing with you, and what better way than to start with your latest
It's cold in LA.
Yes, it's also cold.
Just got in from Magellan. It's very humid in the country right now.
And I guess to start with Magellan a little bit, I kind of want to start with your personal relationship and history to the story of Magellan. Do you remember sort of the first time you were told that story, or how that relationship developed for you?
You can escape Magellan in the Philippines. It's all over psyche, and music, storybooks, oral history. There's a lot of poetry. It's in everything about the Philippines. So you can escape. It's like a fixture. At some point you're going to get sick about Magellan. There's a lot of Magellan thing in the country.
So did you always have a Magellan movie in the back of your mind?
Yeah, it's like, it's like if you're a filmmaker, maybe you can do something about it. Just to stop things, a post-colonial thing, so to speak, to discourse with it, because it's the main character of all the changes that happen in the country.
And so, in this is co-production, international co-production. You're working with Albert Terry, you're working with Jean-Luc. How did that relationship between the three sort of begin?
I've been friends with Albert, one time we were hanging out in Barcelona, situated some of my works as a retrospective in Barcelona. And I said, and he looked at me like, you're a very poor filmmaker, Lav. Maybe we can help you. Yeah, I said, how can you help me? There's a lot of money here. With the Arts Council, this much. Just think of a story that will connect the Philippines and Spain. I said, that's Magellan. And then I went to Lisbon, and there's another friend, Joaquim Sapina, is producing films in Portugal. I said, can you think of something that connects Portugal and the Philippines? That's Magellan. I started with it's fucking Magellan. You got escaping.
It was inevitable you would make.
Oh, yeah.
And then, so speaking
It's a
of...
very nice guy, Magellan.
Very nice guy, very nice end for him.
And I think he brought weed in the country. We're forever like in a trance. The Filipinos are in a trance and we're lost. It is very, very militaristic, architectural.
Well, that's an interesting thing of you're always surrounded by Magellan. So in this film, you kind of contradict or contest the idea of love. Right? So where did
it's
that...
a dialogue that I want to present to Filipinos. Are there Filipinos here?
Yes.
Okay. It's a big question. If you dig deeper, if you do some research, I've researched on this for 7 years, and if you investigate enough and do it in a very forensic way, a very genealogical way, because Lapu-Lapu is a big problem. We should start dialogue on that,
Okay, I was going to say this to the end.
Because it's just a version of one man, pick a fair. But if you dig deeper with the confessions, all the witnesses that survived, there are different stories there. And even the numbers, through the years, things don't connect. So it's a big question. For me, it's some of them, And we're talking about Lapu-Lapu as the first Filipino hero. Is motherfucking monopoly, man. Yeah, you should think deeper. You Filipinos, we should go back to our history, examine it, confront it, don't just accept the version of Europeans. We should, do it in our own perspective.
So I'm then curious, because in 25 years, you declared love.
Yeah, motherfucking yeah, fuck him.
I was wondering if that at all affected your filmmaking, or if it was just a coincidence of the timeline or anything like that.
No, there's no coincidence there. The populist perspective has been with us since Marcos, since the Americans came, since the Spanish came. It's been there. This Mali, this great cultural debacle in our country. We go back to the colonial period up to now, it's still the same.
Oh, I did want to ask. This seems like a very intense production. You have a lot of different languages. Actors are learning languages. I read somewhere that you got tuberculosis. What kind of was that true? What were the sort of challenges and what did you feel like you learned from this?
Language is a big problem. I'm writing a script in English, somebody's translating it to Portuguese, and somebody's translating it to Spanish. And we have to learn these things. It's a lot of work. This film is really hard work. I almost died during the shoot of this film. I got tuberculosis during the shoot. Yeah, it's crazy. It's a crazy shoot.
And with this being that co-production, you're working collaboratively with new people.
Yeah.
One of those, I think, being Arthur Ford, right?
Yeah.
So this is the first time we worked together. I wanted to sort of see sort of what the conversations you were having about this time period, what you wanted it to look like, were there any sort of paintings or any other visual references you were pulling from?
Yeah, I'm working with very, very intelligent guys. Like Arthur is a genius. Arthur Ford is an oracle of Albert. And we're doing the same process. He works alone in his camera, with his small camera, black magic camera, with Albert, several works, and we just one camera. Of course, there's a lot of cameras going on with Albert. And we have the same process. We have to lean it out, everything is small. And yeah, it's good that we're on the same way in this shoot. There's a lot of adjustment culturally. When you're working with Portuguese, or you're working with Spanish, there's a lot of adjustment. And it worked anyway.
Well, I think it did.
Yeah.
Because this is your first film in colors since North.
No, okay, yeah, that's what's
So was this sort of ever, did you ever envision this black and white?
It's supposed to be black and white, but when we were showing when we were showing the footages to the guys who created the film, like in Paris, in Lisbon, and Barcelona, they started suggesting, well, the colors are so great, maybe you should reconsider color. So we're cutting it during the rough cut, and same thing as well, the way you see it. So we'll go for color. It's a decision during the post-production. But before the post-production, during the shoot, it's black and white. You think it's a good decision to go with color?
You do the production design on all, I think, all of your films?
Yeah.
At least this one, sure.
Yeah.
What,
But I have good art directors.
Yeah. And I think this is the earliest time period you've covered.
Yeah.
So what was that sort of process for you thinking back to the story 500 years ago?
It's a lot of research, man, a lot of research. So we went to Lisbon, to the southern part of Portugal, just to check places for the film. I went to Seville, I went to Paris, Barcelona, and all those places. But there's a lot of that as well, going around for trying to check the period, 16th century, look, so to speak. So it's a good thing that, Portugal is intact. Nothing changed in Portugal. It wasn't touched by World War I, it wasn't touched by World War II. Even Xi Jinping destroys Europe, maybe Portugal will survive. So, it's the most untouched country in the world, amazingly. Some parts of Spain as well.
Yeah.
But of course, the Philippines, you can't see those things now.
Was it harder to do like location scouting in the Philippines than it was in Spain?
Well, I live in a place where there's rainforest, there's the lakes and rivers, so we shot the Philippine scenes there, in the place where I live now.
Where you live?
Yeah, so you see a lot of those. The hardest part would be, of course, I have to ask people, the experts, is this the 16th century? This one, I don't know, you have to ask people. But it's so important. Enrique.
Yes, to me, he's my favorite, and I think kind of the most compelling. He's traveled all over the world. He essentially takes the same journey as Magellan.
He's the first circumnavigator of the world. Magellan. Yeah, it's true. He went back, he survived. Magellan died in Cebu. He didn't reach Cebu again.
So I wanted to ask kind of what that research process for him was like. There's other interviews where you're talking about Magellan and Beatrice, but I haven't heard too much about.
There are books written about Enrique de Malacca in Indonesia and Malaysia. In the Philippines, there was a satire film about him made by one of our greats, Kailan Painting. So these are the things that's written about. Of course, you just have to read Pigafetto's daily notes. There's a copy of Enrique. And there's still debate about Enrique being Filipino or being Malaysian, being Indonesian. He's a Malay. You know, we're all Malays then. Indonesia, Malaysia, and Philippines is the Malay race. So the language in this part of the world then was still evolving. So the Malay language, it's easy for him to understand. When he reads Cebu, which is in the Philippines, he can understand the language because he's a Malay. That connects everything.
And a lot of the film has to do with faith, right? Magellan has, his faith, he's bringing Christianity, but throughout the film, Enrique's also, doing these declarations, I'm lucky, kind of screaming out to God.
In his perspective, yeah. We still have those, even in the Philippines. There's still indigenous peoples who are, practicing the ancient, the very, very primal, very ancient Filipino, Malay practices. And I went to Indonesia and Malaysia as well, researching on the indigenous peoples. You can see Enrique with them. He's still very much alive in this, these cultures are still untouched.
And then I did want to ask, you've covered this period of world history. You've also covered the future with Halt, which is 2034.
Yeah.
Is there any other period of history or another future period that you want to?
We're shooting a film right now, 1617. We started shooting this December. We did 4 days already. So 1617. The early 17th century was because Spain declared the Philippines as a colony in 1571, 1570s, during the middle of it, obviously Ignatius' reign. And this period from 1571 up to the early 17th century was the construction of the building era where they created a lot of churches, fortresses, and they don't mention the issue of slave labor. So many Malay Filipinos died just working on building churches and forts. The church, they didn't want to mention this. There's a lot of blood, deaths during that period, building big churches, all these fortresses of God. But the cost is too much for the Malay Filipinos then. There are places in the country then where old males will die just building these churches, the slave labor. They don't mention this.
So that's the next.
Yeah,
we're hoping. No 9-hour feature.
Maybe 40 hours. I don't know. We're just shooting and shooting. So we started shooting after Christmas.
Okay. Well, we do have time for a few audience questions.
Yeah, there are questions.
I just have a question about the visual structure of the film. This was my first film of yours that I'd seen, and I was very impressed by the lack of traditional coverage and the lack of stuff you shot the first shot. So my question is, in terms of the shot structure of the scenes, how much of it was rigorously planned in pre-production, and how much of it was found on the day and then shaped in the editing room?
There's a lot of planning, of course, but what's important to me is a relationship with the space. Because I do a lot of location hunt, so I do more premium on understanding the places where we shoot. Because putting the camera is easy here that way. If you have a relationship with the space, for example, this theater. If we shoot here, I would live here for a bit, stay here for a bit, weeks or months to understand this place, to smell it, to inhabit it in a way, and sort of a close relationship with it. And come shooting time, I know where to put things, easy. It is about relationship with space for me, understanding. And not just go there because the set is ready, that doesn't work for me.
Thank you.
Me? Was it that fucking windy every day? Was it that fucking windy every day?
It was raining every day.
Oh my god.
So I got so sick, dude. It was raining every day.
Oh man.
In the Philippines and even in Portugal and Cadiz. We were shooting, we started shooting September and until December.
Hey.
It's wet.
Yes. I was just thinking about, this was my first film by you also, as a Filipino. I'm a bad Filipino for that. But I was just wondering where you see your films in this kind of tradition of Filipinos making movies about colonialism, about labor, like Kidlat, like you said, or Lino Brocca.
It's a continuing discourse. Ultimately, cinema, greatest cinema's goal is to, to continue the battle about empires, about oppressing us. In our own small way, I want to be part of that, to do this discourse on our very, very fractured culture, why. It's an examination as well, like Magellan is an examination of that. And the question about Lapu-Lapu is, it's more not questioning if it really did exist, but it's more about opening a dialogue. We should go back to history. We should confront our past so that we can move forward as a culture.
And do you feel like that's the guiding through your filmography? How did we get here? Do you feel like that's your question?
It's contribution to that. There's a lot of things that blur our culture until now. So this is a sure situation here in America. What did we come to Trump? That kind of thing. How come that Trump is here now? So you have to examine what's happening with your process and Asian as well. So it's the same thing all over. Syria, Palestine, all of it. It's the same questions. Russia, Ukraine, all these things. We're all into this parallel histories of, fractures and all these things. So it's good to examine the past always.
Here. Over here. Well, thank you for sharing your story because, I grew up in the Philippines as a young boy. And now I have it's an eye-opener about Lapu-Lapu. So what did historians told you about your movie?
It's a mixed thing. So some people they want to kill me. And some people say embrace me and thank you for the dialogue. And then I really believe in this division that, because if you read Pick of Fairlight, it's always making fun of Lapu, like, oh, this fat guy, big bellied guy. He's underestimating the Malay perspective. So, and it's like, Magellan and Pick of Fairlight didn't realize that Lapu was really working around them. So if you do it, the way I read history and research it, and being an investigator as well, ultimately while reading it and shooting the film, it came to that. We need to really go back and check it. Because we've been following this narrative always, this narrative from Europe, as if it's true, For me, it's always about the truth, We should be near the truth always, with all these discourses, That's why we're lost. We don't talk about, checking the truth.
Thank you.
In the film, Magellan also has a dance.
What's that?
Magellan also has his doubts about love.
Yeah, yeah.
He's the myth.
That's how, clever Romano was. He was playing around and imagine there was the Battle of Mactan, April 27th. And according to Picafera, Omabon was weeping like a child because his friend was killed. And 4 days later, he massacred the people of Magellan. May 1st was the massacre of Cebu. They had a big feast and they started massacring the Europeans. And it was Omabon.
And he saved repay.
Yeah. And according to Picafera, the plot was done by Omabon and Enrique.
That's why the end is
This does not connect. One good example that don't connect if you examine it. According to Picafera, when they reached Mactan, the battle, they were met by 2,000 Malay naked warriors. 2,000. It's 1521. And you go 1571, 15 decades later, 1571, when Magellan declared the country, the archipelago was a Spanish colony, and he started an encomienda system. The encomienda system is they appoint governors in every island in place. So this is the first recorded thing in Philippine history, the encomienda system. So the guy who was assigned to Mactan, the island where Magellan was killed, where the Mactan battle supposed to happen, he went back to Manila and said, "Oh, sir, the island is uninhabitable, and I found 150 people there." This is recorded. So you go back 5 decades earlier, where did the 2,000 men came from? Waiting for them, If you're an investigator, this doesn't add up. You have to investigate it again. It's a good, it's a good case. It's a cold case. Yeah, it's a cold case. But if you go by numbers, man, this didn't happen. 2,000 warriors waiting. And then 5 days later, a guy was saying, "Oh, it's uninhabitable. There's just 100 people there." That's a big question. It's written.
Well, along with this, you do have your other films playing this weekend.
Yeah.
When the Waves Are Gone, which is also
Please come and watch it.
yes, please.
How more is worth. Thank you.